Houston. Boss Women of Houston is presented to you by Bad and Bougie Entertainment. I'm your host, CEO Miss Nikki. Today I have the beautiful host, Dr. Camicia Gaskin. And today we have radio personality chit chat with
With
Tosha
Tosha
Mac.
Mac.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome,
Thank you guys
welcome.
for having me. I am super excited and elated to be here. You guys just don't know it.
We are super excited to have you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how you got inspired to start Chit Chat with Tasha Mac?
Oh my gosh. Pandemic. Pandemic took everybody home.
Yes.
Yes.
And so during the pandemic, I was just, me and God was always talking because I think the pandemic gave everybody an opportunity to now develop an ownership of your
Mm-hmm.
relationship with God. At first,
Most
it was
True,
you
true.
left it
definitely.
to the pastor to sing you, or the preacher to get you
Sing the
happy.
scripture.
The
Uh-huh.
yes, and the choir to sing you happy. And now it's like all of that was gone. So now you and your relationship with God is was what you made it. So
Mm-hmm.
me and God was talking, and so one of my scriptures that I developed a love for is Jeremiah 29:11.
Ooh, mine too.
Yes, man.
Boy,
For
you know.
the plans I have for you, yes, prosper,
Yes.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and so that became the cornerstone and the strength of what I was going through because it was a pandemic, and I was like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
so God, what is it you have for me? We're working at home, which I loved working from home.
Yeah.
Me and my husband work in the same field. We're both education, so we was both at home. It was like
Mm-hmm.
this was my office, this was your office, and no walls.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Right.
so I was like, okay, God, what else? What else am I supposed to be doing with my life? And so our church went home, and so we decided we was going to start having virtual service.
Mm-hmm.
So we would
Okay.
go to the church and we would open it up, and then the pastor would bring a message. And so my first lady asked me if I wanted to do to open up the church, and they have like a conversation before service starts,
Okay.
and then service starts. I was like, okay, cool, I could do that. And so
Mm-hmm.
we did that, and I just loved it. And so one of the church members called me and she said, "Hey, I know a guy that has a radio station. I think you would be good at it." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, really? Me? I
Mm-hmm.
said, first of
Okay.
all, I don't like to talk in front of people.
Yeah.
So I was really hesitant and really nervous. And I was like, okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do,
This is
then,
what you
if
want.
this is the plan, I've been praying for this plan. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't turn my back on this plan. So I said,
Right,
if this is the
right.
plan you have for me, then I'm going to walk through it. So she contacted me again and she said, hey, I told him about you. He wants you to call him. I was like, okay. And so I called him and he was like, hey, how are you? And we introduced ourselves and he said, okay, my station is in Sunnyside and why don't you come on through and let's sit down. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, cool beans. And so we came in, I sat down and I met him and we started talking and then the mics came on. And then it was like it was an interview. I was like, I wasn't ready for that.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I just
right.
thought
Yeah.
we was gonna be so I wound up helping him co-host his show that day. And so
Right.
I loved it. He said he got some great feedback from it and he offered me the position to be a radio host. I was like, okay, I can do this for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever. That's cool. And he was like, no, it's a 2 hour show.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
It's like, what am I gonna do for 2 hours? Who am I gonna talk to for two
Right.
hours? What do I know to
Right,
talk about for
right,
2 hours?
right.
What topics we have to talk about for 2 hours? So I was like, okay, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, once again, I could
Mm-hmm.
do this. And how I had already, I think the steps was already being ordained because
Come on
There
doing
you
now.
go. There you
doing
go.
COVID, it was so much going on, and so
Yes.
I asked my husband. I said, hey. I saw this deck on Facebook. Can you build this? And
Yes.
he was like, huh? I was like, yeah, we need a place to escape from just being in the house. And so he put it together. It came out beautiful. He went 10 times what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I started going live on Facebook in the backyard, and it was called In the Backyard with Tasha, Tasha's
Oh,
Backyard
okay.
Vibes.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
called Tasha's Backyard Vibes. And so that's when I would go on Facebook and just chit chat it up and talk about politics, talk about God, talk about sex, talk about marriage, just talk about whatever, hit
Yes,
me that
yes.
day.
Yes.
And so a lot of people liked it. And I was like, okay, okay. So I guess maybe I am fit to do this. And then when I
Yeah.
was
Okay.
thinking, I was like, okay, you know what? I graduated with one of my minors was in broadcasting and journalism and communication. I was like, so God, it
Use
was
your talents.
you was already preparing me
Yes,
for
Mm-hmm.
this. I didn't
Yes.
yes.
know it. And
Yes.
my first lady was always talking about nuggets that God gives us nuggets throughout our lives. And
Mm-hmm.
we just don't realize how much he's already put into us until the plan now unfolds. And you realize I
Yeah.
am prepared for this. I was made for this because all my life I've been doing this, but in the background. And
Right.
so now it's in the forefront. It's like I could sit down and talk to people for hours in a sit down setting, but you put me in front of a mic and in front of a whole group of people. It's like, and so I
Yes.
know what to
Yes.
do. But now it's like you turn the switch goes on and it's like
Boom.
bam, everything,
Yeah.
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 And so I took the gig and I went home and told my husband, I was like, look, I have this opportunity to
Yeah.
do it. And he was like, okay, you sure? You ain't never did that because this is his life. He was a producer, sound designer, the whole nine
Yeah.
yards.
Right. Right.
And so this was never my thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, I like to be around people and I like to
Yeah.
conversate, but not just to sit and hold the conversations. And so he was like, okay. And so we went to the studio and it's been nothing but success and show after show after show. And I just love it now. Tuesdays come, it's like I still get really nervous. But then once he points at me and the theme song goes on, and it's like, yay, hey, how y'all doing? Well, and so it's just like a whole different personality comes out. And
Yes.
so
Right.
yeah,
Your
I'm
alter
just yeah,
ego.
exactly. And Tasha
Hmm.
Mack is my alter ego.
So
Yes.
you were naturally shy?
I was naturally in a sense where I didn't like to be amongst a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like if we
Okay.
were sitting at a round table and we were just having a conversation, like cool. But if now that you put that round table on a stage and
Yeah.
now have a crowd of
You have
people out there, it's like
Focusing
wait,
the
on
focus
you.
is
yeah,
on
and then
you.
it
Okay.
becomes something different. It's like, oh, okay, so I'm the center of attention.
Yes.
No, I want to be the one that case. Okay, doctor, do you need anything? You need me to bring you some water? I want to be the one that cater to you. I don't want
Yeah.
nobody to look at me like, what? Okay, what are we talking about? And how you gonna ask me questions? Yeah, I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But now it's like I am that person.
Yeah.
So how did you feel when you were developing that stage where I have to interview people? I wonder if they're gonna like
Oh
me.
my
All those
gosh.
things go through your mind
It
when you
it
meet
does.
Yeah.
It
somebody.
does. It does. And so at first what I would do, my husband calls it stalking. So I would go do my research, find out who
Yeah.
you are. I would have like a list of questions that I would want to ask. I would go back and watch other interviews.
Yeah.
And then I found that intimidated me because I don't want it to be like somebody else. I
Yeah.
don't want to
Right.
do
Yeah.
interview questions like Oprah, and I don't want to be
Yeah.
like a Gail. I
Okay.
don't want to be
Yeah.
like I just want to be Tasha Mack.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the less I study, the less I know, and the less I interact with
It
other
can be
interviews.
authentic,
It's gonna be
Yes,
organic.
it
yeah. Yeah.
becomes organic, and so
Yeah.
now it's us really just chit chatting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's like so whatever question God gives me, that's what I'm gonna ask
And the
you.
Right.
reaction from people are going to be different.
It is.
Natural.
It's
It
going to
is.
be a
be
natural
natural.
reaction.
Exactly, because
It's
it
Hmm.
gonna be
may be
natural.
something that they've never had before,
Yeah.
Right.
or it may be put differently than they've had it
Right.
before. So yeah, that kind of helped me ease into it is just to relax and say one of the ladies that I did a co-host with, she said it's just conversation and music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once I started it's just chit
Doing it
chatting.
like
And
that.
yes, and like the
Yes.
nervousness. I mean, I still the anticipation of the radio going on and that still kind of woo. But
Yeah.
then once
Yeah.
it's like it goes away.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because sometimes I have my moments like I did when sometimes I'll be like, Dr. Gaston, you bring us on,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
sometimes, well, we had a show that came on and it was Mothers of Murdered Sons. And I don't think we could get past the first thing. And Dr. Gaskin had to, bring it on, so
'Cause
it,
that's a hard
And then I
topic.
broke down
yeah.
because
Yeah.
so I guess how did you associate or how did you take yourself out without allowing the emotion to take over while you're interviewing people?
I don't.
You allow it to
You
flow.
allow it to flow.
That's why
Because
we started
people
Energy.
can receive you and they can have a better
Better.
conversation with you
Yes.
when they
Yes.
see the empathy and they see the sympathy and they realize, oh my gosh, she cares, she values. This is
Right.
not
Yeah.
just I'm not just being a robot, just acting. No,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, I'm out. Can I pray for you? Can I?
Yeah.
Whatever the moment,
Whatever
wherever the
the
moment
Come
takes
on
you,
here.
is where you just go with it. And
Exactly.
that's
Yes.
just, I mean, you just have to
Yes.
know that everything you do, if it's of God
Yeah.
and He's in it, He put it in you, so it's gonna come out.
Most
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna
Right.
come out. So I just allow that second. Once I ask the question and and the response, and I just allow the second to take place, to take in what they're saying, and then just give some feedback.
Right.
Yeah. So I just let me flow.
Right. Well, we'll take a moment to go to commercial break and we'll come back and hear more about Chit Chat with Tosha Mac. Welcome back to Boss Women in Houston with the lovely chit chat with Tosha Mac. So, can you give us a little more about the details of the behind the scene of what you do?
Oh my gosh. When we're in the studio, it's my husband is also the producer, sound engineer, button pusher, all the likes, A Dub. And so it's like being at our house because what we do at home is pretty much what we do at the station. We just add music. Our
Mhm.
mouths are kind of racy at home, and
Mhm.
so some of that comes out on the air. And so we are very just a very relaxed environment. If we have an interview going on, it's very hype. Everybody's really into the interview. We have conversation. If it's just us, I can interview him. He don't even realize he's being interviewed about
Yes.
what he does in his past, of what he's done in his past, and we'll have conversation about that. Talking about the weather. I mean, right now, one of our hottest topics that we kind of discuss is domestic gun violence is what it is, and
Yes.
just being sick and tired of being sick and tired of what's going on.
Most
Yeah, and so
definitely.
some of our conversations can be a little, and then some of them
Yeah.
is just fun. It's
Right.
we like I said, we can talk about sex, we talk about God, we talk about it all in the same topic.
Well, let us introduce some of the topics that you talk to and share with our audience.
Oh, thank you, thank you. This is one where we're in the studio, so I hope you love it and you enjoy it. Hey, 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 guys. Welcome to Tuesday. I'm already clowning and on fire. This is your girl, none other than Tosha Mac from Chit Chat with Tosha Mac. We are getting ready to go live here at High Volume Music Radio. If you have not, download the app. Download it now, High Volume Music Radio, or you can listen to us via Facebook, not Facebook, via the website at highvolumemusicradio.com. Make sure you check us out one way or the other. We have an awesome show lined up for you guys tonight. I am super excited. I have none other than Myra Washington. She's originally from Port Arthur, but I'm gonna say Houston's girl, Myra Washington, and she's also DJ Karma Camille. She will be on the show in a few minutes, so make sure you download the app. Catch us on. You can catch me on Facebook at Chit Chat with Tasha Mac. You can also follow me on Instagram. You can connect to my YouTube page. We have a lot going on at the show. Oh my gosh, we caught Myra a couple of weekends ago down at the TWIF event. And TWIF, I might be saying it wrong, TWEF, but it stands for Texas Women Empowerment Foundation. So make sure you go and follow them. But she was a presenter and she did an awesome job. She did her DJ skills.
Welcome back to Boss Women of Houston. That was dope. You
Oh
are
man,
all
like
of
I
that.
said, we just love what we do. Shout out to my husband A Dub for just making sure the button gets pushed because I don't
Yes.
know nothing about the buttons. I don't know how to turn them on. I don't know what to do. I just know how to. I have the gift of gab, so I know how to have the conversations. That's about it.
But shout out to ADub.
Shout
Also,
out to A-Dub.
we have another show which is a podcast, and we would like to bring ADub on, and maybe he can explain to us a little bit about what he does as well, as for
Awesome.
which is called Ear Hustle TV. So,
Yeah.
and you can also come
Of
on.
Woo
course.
woo.
Both of
Yes,
you
Yes.
all.
and
Thank
you can
you.
show. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
can both show us what you do as a couple,
Mhm.
a power
Right.
couple.
Mhm. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I love it.
power
I love it.
couple.
I love it.
And
I
Yeah,
then
love it.
we can extend and it'll be a good fellowship.
Oh, I
Yeah,
yes,
good
love it.
fellowship.
most
And
definitely.
the one thing I love about who we are as a couple is the authenticity.
Yes.
Most definitely.
What you see here and what you see at the
It's
radio station is
real.
real because that's how we're
Yes,
around our family. That's how we're
most
around
definitely.
our church members. And
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
whoever's in the room with us, you could be in any room with us and we're going to be exactly the same.
Mhm.
And so that was one of the attributes that I learned when with maturity is stop
Yes.
being who everybody else wants you to be.
Right.
Yes,
Just
and
be
Right.
be who
you.
you
Just
are.
Right.
be who
Yes.
you
Right.
are. And that
Mhm.
way you don't have to remember, okay, I'm bougie in this scene. I'm
Mhm.
ratchet in this scene and I'm
Yeah.
ghetto in this scene. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be
Yes.
who I am,
Yeah.
Right.
period.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
Right.
that way when I change my scenes, I don't have to forget who I'm supposed to be in that scene.
Exactly.
So
Right.
now I'm just who I am.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the most authentic thing that a person can be. I was sharing earlier with a person is that sometimes we try to balance everyone else's
Mm-hmm.
emotions till we
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
disregard our own and
Mm-hmm.
we become something else that
Mhm.
don't allow us to be who and truly who we are.
Yes.
Exactly.
So when you actually, and it's funny that you mentioned about stalking, because soon as we knew that we were interviewing you, I said, okay,
Yes.
let me go see what she's
Yes.
about, right? So
Yes.
I went on there and I was like, oh my God, she is
Oh,
so
beautiful.
beautiful.
Thank
And your
you.
personality is
Oh,
very attractive.
thank
Hmm.
And
you.
I can see how easy it is for you to talk. So were there
Mm.
any moments that when you were doing your
Mhm.
podcast or your radio talk and you felt like, oh my God, this interview is so hard. How am I going to pull it through?
We interviewed during last year one of our. It wasn't our first show, but it was one of the ones that was close to around our first show. I interviewed. You guys said about women that lost people to gun violence.
Hmm.
Right.
I interviewed a mother that lost her daughter and her grandson to
Jesus.
domestic violence.
Mm.
Jesus.
Yeah, and so that to me was the hardest thing. And so in that interview, I pretty much took a back seat and let her tell her story
Yes.
because
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't know where do I interject? How do I even ask you questions?
How I
Yes.
would
So how would
offend.
exactly how do I not go too far in this conversation
Yeah.
where it breaks you down and you don't
Yes.
or it covers something that you wasn't ready to uncover.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
I learned in that interview that sometimes it's okay to take a back seat and let somebody else
Yes.
do
Yes.
the show.
Yes.
And she pretty much did the show, just talking about her relationship with her daughter and how this happened and what else. I mean, some of the things to teach women what to look out in a situation when you're trying to date a guy. Make sure you look for this and that because you just never know. Some
Never
things to
know.
just be aware of. And so
Yes.
I pretty much let her do the show because I didn't know what to add to it
Yeah.
outside of wow
Yeah.
Yeah.
and wow
Yeah.
and your strength and your encouragement
Yeah.
your I mean because now she runs a nonprofit and
Yeah.
so it was just very humbling to
Mhm.
sit and listen to that story. So I would
Yes.
say that was the one thing where I was just like, oh, I have nothing. I don't even
Right.
know what to give to this
We're
conversation.
always intrigued because how people turn their pain into purpose.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
that's something that
Mm.
when we see that, we
Mhm.
know that being a
Mhm.
talk
Yeah.
show host or being
Yeah.
a podcast or
Mhm.
being a person of influence, even behind the scenes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that you are making an impact.
Exactly.
So how does that feel for you?
Oh, it seems like, I mean, because our generation,
Hmm.
as I would say, we're all
Yes.
around the same 20 era, we
Yeah.
all in our
Right.
20s.
Yeah. Most
Yes,
We
definitely.
all in our
honey.
Yes,
20s.
we are
So
20.
we were taught to be strong.
Hmm.
Your strength had to come before anything else.
Anything
Yes.
And
else.
so we didn't tell what was going on in the house.
Most
We didn't
definitely.
That
tell,
was
we
our
didn't
culture
share. Yeah,
then.
exactly. We didn't
Yes.
do any of that. And now to know that my testimony has a purpose,
Come
Hmm.
on
that
here.
anything I say that I've gone through has somebody on the other end of this
Yeah.
On
camera,
the
other
other
end of
end.
this mic, that is hearing, that is listening for a olive branch. I'm looking for
Yes.
something.
Right.
She might
Some
say
Yes.
something.
comfort.
Yes. And
Yes.
to know somebody say, I listened to your show yesterday and dang, you hit it. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you, God.
Yes.
Thank you, God.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you gave that to me. In my
Yes.
own mind, in my own being, I probably would
Yes.
have never come up with like
Yes.
anything that of that
Yes.
value.
Hmm.
And so I noticed that in my show, in the middle of the show, God knows how to introduce who he is
There you
Right.
go.
through the conversation.
Right.
And so once he does that, then I just, okay, this is what, and so this is how that happened. And people, it just brings about another conversation because you find out a lot of people has had trauma. Whatever that
Yes.
trauma is, a lot of people have it. You might not have it in common, but the word trauma, you have in common.
Yep.
And
Yes.
so that knowing that what I am sharing could be healing somebody else. I heard you
Yes.
say it before the show that you guys are healers because your
Hmm.
words are healing.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right.
So that's something I value just about the fact that I've gone through some things and I can now tell some stories.
All
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
With that being said, we'll go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll hear how to get in contact with Tasha Mack and what her future plans.
This lady is looking at us. Do not make eye contact. Do not look up. I least she might be trying to take our order. I'm not sure. With I'm down for that. We're going to call somebody. Call Ghostbusters. Call Chad. I see it don't look.
When accidents happen, always keep a level head and just call Chad. He's got you covered.
to Boss Women of Houston and the beautiful chit chat with Tosha Mac.
Hey, hey,
Mac.
hey, 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 hey.
Tell us a little bit. I know we have some good laughs and bloopers here on
Mm.
Boss Women of Houston. Do you have any bloopers or things that you can tell us about that
Mm.
may have made you laugh?
That ooh for me.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so first of all, I'm horrible with names
Mhm.
and titles.
Mhm.
So I will mess up an artist's name, and I pray God, please get that release to me, so that way,
Release.
Release.
yes, release to me, God. So I will rename a song to whatever I want it to be
Oh.
called. It's like you hear that, you find your own catchphrase in a song, and I want that black butterflies or whatever
You want
whatever
that to be the
I
Whatever
want
the
title.
that to be
hook
the title.
is,
Whatever
whatever
the
the
hook
hook is,
is,
that's the
I
name of
want
the
that to be the
song.
title.
I do
Exactly.
that.
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like, and
That's
he'd be
how you
like,
remember.
that's
That's
not the
not
name.
it.
That's not. That's not it. So
Ah.
yeah, I'm like, okay, so let me, and so I have to make sure that I write the names of the songs down, because I will come back and just, yeah, I will flip flop. I will tear that up. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord,
So I
yeah.
have to, I really have to be mindful of that. And I'm just horrible with, I don't like anything written down, because I'm gonna jumble it up and fumble it
Oh
up, and
yeah.
before I don't want to read it. I want to kind of get it to my memory, put it in my spirit, so that way I don't have to read it, because I just get really nervous, and I get tongue tied, and then
Mhm.
I
Uh-oh.
start speaking really really fast, and
Uh-huh.
so it's like I'll be reading, blah, 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 and he'd be looking at me like, what? Like that when I came out, that's not what I
That's
said.
not
That's
it.
No,
not
that's
what
not
I
what you said. So yeah, I have to be mindful of just slowing down, because I have a tendency when I get nervous to speak really, really fast.
Yeah.
One of my first interviews, I've never done a red carpet interview, but I interviewed Keith Washington, and we did it. He called in the radio station, and we had an interview, and then he had a concert that weekend.
Mhm.
And so I went to the concert, and then when I was talking to him, I said, let me do a recording. And so I did a little recording on my phone, and I said, so we at the concert. So what are you here for? And he was like, the concert?
Oh no. Duh.
Yeah, so how long are you here for? One day. It's like tonight. I was like, yeah, I won't be airing that. So yeah. So, so now that I'm remembering, yeah, that was one of my low points.
Oh
That
Lord,
was
A
that's
one of my,
learning
funny.
point. Let's
yes,
call it a learning
yes, that was my
curve.
learning curve.
Yeah,
Yes,
your
yes,
learning
So how
yes.
curve.
did he look at you like?
He just looked at me like,
Like
Yeah.
you know why I'm here.
yeah, you know what I mean? We at a concert. We in like the hall of the concert. You don't hear the music playing. So
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, he brushed it off and just kind of jucky laughed with it. But he was cool people. I am learning
Yeah.
that a lot of these people, like we were saying, we put
Yeah.
them on these pedestals, and they just people, and they
Yeah. They
just
Yeah.
want to
want to
have
be.
genuine conversation. And so,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it's some artists that I've interviewed, and at the end during our little talking section, they be like, "Oh, I love your energy. You and your husband together." And I'd be like, "Oh, you like our energy? Really? We just regular people.
Yeah.
You the star." And so when they do that, I just like, "Oh, okay. So they
It's
just
purpose.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they're gonna enjoy the conversation just like we're enjoying the conversation." We
Right.
talked about that too, that they're getting something out of it, just like as well as we're getting something out of it, because
Right.
they don't know you and you really
Right.
don't know them, and so this is like some personal time,
Yeah.
which where's the name Chit Chat with Tosha Mac comes from. It's like just
Yeah.
a little personal time for us to chit chat.
And your name is so catchy.
Mhm.
Yes.
I can say chit chat with Tasha Mack. You know, you can
Yes.
say chit chat with
Tasha
Tasha
Mac.
Mack. You
Yes.
know,
And
it's
There we
so
go.
also, and
catchy.
Yeah.
then it also remind me of the game. I'm Tosha Mac.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm Tosha
Yeah.
Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
Tasha Mac.
They
yeah,
call it attitude.
Yes,
Tasha
all that
Mac.
attitude comes
Yeah.
out. Yeah, it's like that
Yes.
alter
Yes.
ego. We all have one
Uh
inside of
huh.
us somewhere that kind of gives us that extra boost of confidence.
Right.
And because
Right.
we walk in somebody and say, you can't do that. You
Mhm.
don't know talk good. You're not
Yeah.
gonna be good at that. You don't have
Right.
enough personality.
Right.
And so when that alter ego comes in, you arch your back a
Yeah.
little bit. You
Oh.
yes, you tilt your
Oh.
head like
Yeah.
hey, yeah. It's like that extra boost of confidence just kind of kicks in and takes over, and
Mhm.
it's like, oh girl, please just have a conversation.
I
Yes.
learned that when you're able to be yourself,
Mm.
that's when you truly and truly enjoy what you do.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is.
Because we always say people have mastered the
Mm-hmm.
posture of pretend.
Yeah.
We
Mm.
perfected that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we pretend to be what we think other people want us to be. In reality, we need to
Yeah.
become
Exactly.
who we are, and
Yeah.
then we
Exactly.
attract the people that
Yeah.
come to us.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing how much more people are lit up when you are
Right.
who you are,
Right.
because they want to know who
Who
are you,
are
what are you
you?
about.
Who
And
are
so if
you?
you're projecting something that they think it's you, they
Yeah.
might not even like you, they might
That's
not even
Exactly.
right.
want to be
And
Exactly.
it's
around
not
you.
even the real you.
Because it's not even who you are, because some people judge spirit by the spirit. Some
Yeah.
Yeah.
people can
Yeah.
determine whether or not you are being true or if you're being fake. And
Hmm.
so I'm one of them people, like, just be real, and I want
Yeah.
you to be real. I want us to be just
Right.
comfortable, because we all can learn from somebody. This lane is big enough for everybody.
Everybody.
Exactly. And everybody has a purpose to be in everybody else's lives. And
Right.
so if you're not getting to know the true me, then you didn't value what God gave
If
for.
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
bury your talents.
Exactly.
And
Oh,
when
you
you
better
bury your
talk about it.
talents, you don't get me started up
Wait
in
a
here.
He
minute.
will take it.
And
He will take it.
you know what's funny? Remember when we first did the three-way call? And
Oh,
Oh Lord. Y'all, okay, so this is the
Tasha.
behind the scenes. She was calling us and we were trying to talk because we wanted to get the feel of each other. And her and I was like, I hear you. We out here. And I'm on my
Yes.
phone
And she
like,
kept saying, Tasha.
Tasha,
She
Tasha.
said, do you hear? And
And
she was
Tasha
like,
was like,
yes,
Tasha
I
said, I'm
see
here.
you. I
And I said, Tasha, I hear you. She said, well, I don't hear none of them now. I'm like, oh my
I
God.
see y'all on the phone.
But what was so funny was Tasha said, let's give her her moment.
Give her a moment.
And finally, it dawned on me when I looked up at the radio. My phone had was synced into my car, and
Oh,
I was like,
jeez.
I was like,
And we was just talking, we
yeah,
was laughing, like, let's give her
yeah.
her
Let's give her a
And
moment.
then I
moment.
was like, okay, as you can see, I'm
You were
picky. Yeah, I'm
discombobulated that
picky,
day.
and that's the brain. Because
Yeah.
when it is always something. Because I would
Oh
have to
my
call her
gosh.
in the restroom. Can you help me get back in my car? It's
Yeah.
funny.
But
I
that's
need you.
sisterhood,
It
you
Yes.
is.
know?
And that's when you're genuine. That's when you
Right.
can really grow together as people. And
Right.
some relationships are here to stay forever. And some of them, of course, are short term. But
Yeah.
when you can grow together as
Right.
people and just be, yeah, girl, I got a hold of my jaws. Don't tell nobody. And so
Yeah.
Yes.
don't feel like you have to be something in
Uh-huh.
somebody else that is, it just feels more relaxing.
Right.
Yes.
So before we end, could you tell us what your future plans are and
Mm.
how to get in contact with you?
Oh, awesome. Okay, so this weekend, just very, very future, I will be at a radio and press junket. It's going to be held at it's a hotel, Marriott Hotel on West Park, and so I will be there for the fourth and the fifth. Loud Production
Loud.
is,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
he's having a press radio junket, and they invited me to be a part of the radio.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
yeah, thank you. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited about
We're
that.
excited for you.
So thank you. I am getting ready to launch my YouTube,
Mhm.
where we'll start doing
Okay.
some of our interviews via YouTube opposed to just being on the radio.
Oh,
So those are
Okay.
okay.
my very present future
Mhm.
plans that I'm doing, that I'm looking forward to doing anyway. So I'm just excited about what God has for me. And
And what avenues can your viewers watch you on?
okay, you can watch me. The show is called Chit Chat with Tosha Mac, and it is on High Volume Music Radio. You can download the app High Volume Music Radio, or you can catch it online at highvolumemusicradio.com. And you can follow me on all social medias as Chit Chat with Tasha Mac. So that just became my name across the board. If you want to email me, you can email me at TashaMac21 at yahoo.com. So yeah. So I'm excited. And I thank you. I want to, first of all, let me thank you ladies for just extending an olive branch to have me on your show.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
excited
Most
about being here.
definitely.
We enjoyed it.
I enjoyed being here, and I can't
Mhm.
wait to me and my husband are
Mhm.
able to be on Ear Hustles. I'm excited
Yes,
about
Yes,
that.
yes,
most
Let's
we're
build this
excited.
definitely.
together.
Ear Hustle TV. So, and that's a live show.
Yes.
So,
All bloopers.
all
Ooh,
bloopers.
Catch
Yes.
all the
raw and
bloopers.
uncut.
Mhm.
Raw
Raw
and
and
uncut.
uncut.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm
Yeah,
excited. Well, thank you
yeah.
guys
So,
for having me. I appreciate
We
it.
most
appreciate it.
definitely. Most definitely. And so, we'll look at the books and schedule you guys. And shout
Yes.
out again to your husband.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
baby.
yes, yes, yes. Well, until next time, we hate to leave. This is Boss Women of Houston. Love, peace,
And
and unity.
unity.
Bye.